So Leviticus is a difficult book to both read and understand. Indeed, it's one of the most difficult books in the entire Bible. And in fact, we can rightly give it the title, The Bible Reading Plan Killer, because we don't have to raise hands, but I would assume that most of us in this room have known what it means to hit Leviticus, be doing great with your Bible reading plan, and hit Leviticus and come to an absolute standstill, right? But the key to properly viewing Leviticus comes from seeing it as the centerpiece of the Pentateuch, as the center point, the central book of the first 5 books of Moses. You see, Exodus, if you remember all the way to back last year, is all about God's great work of redeeming Israel out of their slavery in Egypt so that they could be His people and He could be their God. And although God speaks to them directly from Mount Sinai, gives them His law, gives them His commands, they can't stay in the desert forever. They can't stay there at Mount Sinai and still fulfill their calling that He gives them in Exodus chapter 19 to be a kingdom of priests to the rest of the world. And so the end of Exodus focuses on the building of the tabernacle, also called the tent of meeting, which would be how God's presence would constantly go with His people wherever they went. And in the final chapter, if you remember this, it really happened. They built the tabernacle, got it all set up, and God's presence came down in a pillar of fire down upon there, just as He promised to do. But then, if you remember, there was a problem. God was present, His presence was there, but His glory as He filled the tabernacle was so great that, now, the ordinary Israelite already couldn't get into the tabernacle, but not even Aaron the high priest, and not even Moses, the mediator between God and man, could enter into the tabernacle. And that's how the book of Exodus leaves off. Yahweh is closer than ever to His people, and yet also there's a distance from them. Not even Moses can now get in. Leviticus is the answer to that problem of separation. You see, God is pure, and so Leviticus is answering the question, how can His people who are impure from their sins be in His presence? And the answer that Leviticus gives in a really short summary is blood. Lots and lots and lots of blood. As the author of Hebrews summarizes, indeed, without the law, almost everything is purified by blood, and without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness of sins. The reason for this is because, as Paul says, the wage of sin is death, and that cost must be paid for God to maintain His justice. If